Now, communications looked like this. Now, it's unrecognizable. It's unbelievable. It's revolutionary. How did we get here?
And now, please welcome co-founder, CEO, Twilio, Jeff Lawson.
Welcome to Signal 2018. Signal is bigger than ever because our community, you all, bigger than ever. And it's so amazing to have you here under one roof for 2 magical days to celebrate the people who are creating the future. Now today, I wanted to talk to y'all about how software is changing communications and how communications is changing how our society operates, how our relationships are built. It's changing humanity. And it's changing the kind of companies we're building. It's changing the kind of products we're building. It's changing how we engage with each other as human beings and how we engage with each other as companies and as customers. We're going to meet some amazing people over the next 2 days who are imagining what the future is going to be like and who are building it. We're going to talk to the creators of Westworld. We're going to talk to Roni Abovitz, the CEO and founder of Magic Leap. We're going to use Magic Leap live on stage. We're going to have OK Go here, who's not just going to perform for us, but they're also going to code. We got Tony Hawk and more. We've got customers who you can learn from and see what they're up to. Maybe we're going to launch some new products. There's going to be a lot for you to take home, a lot for you to learn, and really just internalize how communications is changing the nature of the relationships that we are building with each other as human beings. Now, we started Twilio 10 years ago. This is our celebration of a decade of Twilio. And we've seen a lot of things change over the last 10 years. But as I see it, it has never been a better time to be building communications, because communications is transforming every aspect of human life. See, over the last 10 years, you all have been a part of the great communications renaissance that we've been seeing unfold before our eyes. Software is transforming communications and the very nature of human relationships. Now think about it. For 100 years, electronic communications meant basically one thing. You had a telephone, and if someone called it and you happened to be sitting near that phone at your house, you could answer it. That's what electronic communications meant for 100 years. In fact, the biggest change that happened in 100 years was how you dialed the phone. You went from calling an operator to spinning a rotary to pushing some buttons. But ultimately, it was the exact same thing for 100 years. But now you communicate everywhere in your life. You have your phone in your pocket, and communications is interwoven into every part of our day and every part of our lives. You've got texting, you've got Facebook, you've got WhatsApp and WeChat and FaceTime videos. We can send each other money inside of a chat. We can chat inside of a live video stream. We can ask questions of our Alexa, our smart speaker, and we can even chat with our grandparents while we're placing our heads with a poop emoji. Can you believe that? But because of all that technology, guess what? My children have a deep personal relationship with their grandparents who live 3,000 miles away. That's the impact of all of this technology. Now, there was a company who foresaw all of this 25 years ago, AT&T. In fact, they produced a series of television ads in 1993. And I wanted to show them to you now.
Have you ever renewed your driver's license? At a cash machine?
Nice picture.
You will. And the company that'll bring it to you? AT&T.
Your true voice.
Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to, the minute you wanted to? Learn special things.
That's all taken from jazz.
Know any questions? From faraway places.
Oakland?
So where did jazz come from?
Good question.
Or tucked your baby in. From a phone booth. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever kept an eye on your home when you're not at home? Or gotten a phone call
How was your day?
on your wrist? Beautiful. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
Your true voice.
Isn't that amazing? 25 years ago, they made those vignettes and more of them, and these commercials are amazing. Those were directed by David Fincher, believe it or not. That was Tom Selleck narrating those ads. No expense was spared in predicting the future that we now live in, because amazingly, almost every single one of those stories has come true. And see, back in those days, back in 1993, AT&T pretty much did control all of our communications. And so they thought it was natural that they'd be the ones to bring out all these changes. But of course, now we look back and we say it's ridiculous to think that one company, one carrier, would be able to bring about all of that change themselves. But now today, 2018, there's this question on all of our minds. While it's ridiculous to think that one company of the last 25 years would create single-handedly all that innovation, today, sometimes though, it feels like, God, is our future in the hands of Facebook and Google and Amazon? Are these the companies that are going to drive all the innovation forward today? Is our future in their hands? Well, I think the answer today, like it was back then, the answer to who is going to bring about the future is obvious. It's not up to one company to bring about the future. In fact, AT&T was so close. They said, who's going to bring this future to you? AT&T. But the right answer was right under their noses. The right answer was you will. That's who's going to bring about this future. The developers of the world, the millions of creative developers who see the world how it could be and start building that future. Because this renaissance of communications is really about two things, like any renaissance ever is. It's about the combination of two things, new technology and the people who are going to take that technology and use it to change the world. Think back to the medieval Renaissance. It all started with Gutenberg's printing press, right? But that was only the means, because it took new authors with their new ideas to use that printing press and distribute those ideas around the world, and that's what changed the world. And the same thing is happening here. There's new technology, new infrastructure. We have smartphones. We have ubiquitous wireless networks. We've got app stores, location data, Twilio, all these tools. But you don't get the Renaissance if you don't combine it with the diverse group of people who see how the world can be. Artists, philosophers, scientists, developers, doers, movers, shakers of every walk of life who have their ideas and want to change the world, because together we're changing it, all of us together. And the thing that makes this possible are three little letters that we love so much. APIs. I guess that's 4 letters. You know what I mean? Yes is small. But the amazing thing about APIs is that they democratize the ability to build the future. They give life to ideas that aren't dictated by some master. They're the capability for all of you to go realize any idea that you have. And this is why at Twilio we focus so much on removing all the friction from using APIs, by having great developer documentation, by publishing our pricing, by getting out of the way and letting you build. That's why we have a flag that we literally wave every time we go to the New York Stock Exchange. We love carrying this flag, but it's not for us, it's for you. It's because of what this flag means to the world that APIs have the ability to enable millions of people to change the world. Johannes Gutenberg didn't change the world. It's not one company's job to change the world. It's not Google's job. It's not Facebook's job. It's not Amazon's job. It's not Twilio's job. It's all of our job together. Millions of us who see the world how it could be, that's different than how it is today, and we pick up our tools and we start building. And that is what we are celebrating here for the next 2 days. You know, there's companies out there who blow our minds all the time. Take this phone. You and I, we may see a phone, we may see a pocket computer, but Doctors on Demand, they saw better healthcare because they allow you to pick up your phone and see a doctor in minutes instead of making an appointment and waiting weeks before you can actually go see a doctor. You know, many of us see this text message and we think it's texting with a friend. But Nordstrom saw it as a way to connect you with a personal shopper, someone who knew your tastes, someone who knew what's in style, someone who knew exactly what you needed at that moment in time, and build a personal relationship with you over your preferred medium, text messaging. Or take this, an Alexa. You may see an egg timer, you may see a music player, maybe a way to turn your lights on, but Domino's saw it as a way to order a pizza without getting up off the couch. And then track the status of your pizza at every step of the way, from their oven to your door, sending you text alerts along the way, and now ordering a pizza is magical. And that's amazing. That's why we love working with developers. This is your communications renaissance. For all the developers out there and all the companies you work for, seeing opportunities to delight your customers and build something new. That's what this renaissance is about. To take those ideas that nobody knows if they're any good and try them out, put them out in front of customers and see if they work. And when they do, scale them up. And if they don't, go back to the drawing board and try something else. And now those ideas running on Twilio collectively do 60 billion annual interactions. 60 billion interactions are part of this communications renaissance. That means over 100 million messages every single day powering your applications on Twilio. And that's built by the millions of developers in Twilio's developer ecosystem, all of you. Now, every year, we like to take a minute to recognize some of the people in our community who've just done something amazing over the last year. We call them doers. And we want to recognize a few today in something we call our Hall of Doers. Our first doer of 2018 was a marketer, but he was looking for a career change. He wanted to teach himself how to code, so he committed himself to the 100 Days of Code pledge. Y'all know what this is? You commit yourself to writing code for an hour a day for 100 days straight, and that's how you learn. You commit yourself to it. So he used the skills he was building as a developer to learn Twilio, and then to build an SMS app. To do what? To help other people who are doing the 100 Days of Code challenge track their progress. So immediately, he started giving back to other people who are undergoing this journey. But then he reached out to our developer education team. And he said, hey, I want to help teach other people how they can take the 100 Days of Code challenge, how they can use Tullio. And so he organized, he volunteered, and he organized, and he led training for new developers, people just learning how to code in Scottsdale, Arizona, to try to train up his local community. And all while he was still learning to code himself. How cool is that? And shortly after finishing his 100 Days of Code, he got his first job as a professional engineer at a company, and the whole Twitter ecosystem that had been following his journey was celebrating the success of JavaScript Joe. Please give it up for our first doer of 2018, Joe Previtt. JavaScript Joe. All right, our next doer of 2018 works at a company that helps people mid-career learn new skills and accelerate their careers by becoming developers. But you know, their customers, they're busy professionals. They've got day jobs, and so they had to think outside the classroom and say, how can we get mid-career students accelerated and meet them where they are? And so they started with courses, teaching people how to code. But then they realized something, that learning to code was just part of changing your career. You needed mentors. You needed people who were already developers who could help you through that journey of learning to code, and then once you got your job, actually help you make that transition. And so our next doer picked up Twilio Video to build a mentorship platform so that you could connect with your mentor anytime and get help, whether it was learning or whether it was transitioning into your full-time job as a developer. And now this is a key part of the Thinkful education platform. In fact, they are so confident on this combination of education and mentorship that they will give you your money back if you don't land your dream job at the end of going through their coursework. And last month, this mentorship platform did over 1 million video minutes of coaching, helping people to accelerate their careers. Let's give it up for our next doer of 2018, Kara Leary from Thinkful. And our third doer, we're going to meet some more tomorrow, but our third and last doers of today have a really amazing story. We all know that we live in polarizing political times, and sometimes it feels like democracy is being stretched to its limits. And one of the problems is that the genuine connections that need to occur between constituents, voters, and their elected officials is troubled right now. And you can't keep your elected officials accountable if you can't talk to them. But the systems that we use to connect to Congress, to connect to our elected officials, were not prepared for the scale of advocacy that we're seeing in 2018. They're woefully inadequate. If you've ever tried to call your senator, you know that you probably get a busy signal. If you get through, you probably reach a voicemail box. And if you reach the voicemail box, it's probably full. So how can we have a functioning democracy if you can't even contact your elected officials? In fact, one day earlier this year, Congress received over 1.5 million calls in one day. And these Senate staffers are ill-equipped to be able to keep up. So our next doers asked, who's going to fix how Congress communicates? Are we going to wait for some carrier to fix this? No. They said, we are. So please welcome our next doers. They're building a solution to how Congress communicates with this whole country, Seamus Kraft and Aaron Ogle of Article 1. And here to tell us more, come on up, Seamus. Seamus, welcome.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. It is great to have you here. So first of all, tell us a bit about OpenGov Foundation and your newest project, Article 1.
Well, the OpenGov Foundation is a civic nonprofit dedicated to empowering those who serve in our governments with the technology they need to do their most important job, which is to communicate in an authentic, direct, and responsive way with we the people, right? Our system of government doesn't work if government can't hear what we want, know who we are, and work on the right priorities for us. Absolutely. What Article 1 is bringing that communications renaissance into Congress and really the whole public sector.
Because it's like the scale of, like, I think about 15 years ago, like, you know, maybe you would call a senator maybe once every few years. Like now, you see these internet campaigns that just drive millions of people to contact their representatives because these times are so polarized. It's amazing. So tell us how you're rebuilding the connection between Congress and constituents.
Well, what we're doing is we're bringing Article 1 into Congress. And what it's doing is it's giving the hardworking men and women, mostly young, who deeply, deeply want to hear from their constituents the capacity to understand and know who you are and be responsive. You know, the reality is Congress is a 19th century institution trying to solve 21st century problems with 20th century technologies. And the 15 years you reference is actually really good. The average age of federal technology is 15 years. That's certainly before Twilio, before social media, before grassroots online advocacy, and the systems that congressional staff have. And this is a problem that we would never see if we weren't able to get in on the inside like we do every day. They average that old, and it's a postal mail system, and we're trying to cram all this digital communications into postal-based systems. It ain't going to work.
So tell me about how you're solving it. What does your product do?
Absolutely. So what Article 1 does is it gives those Senate offices unlimited capacity, right? Senate office voicemail boxes are limited at 300 messages.
That's today?
Today.
300 messages, and then the voicemail box is full.
And then it's full.
That's
right?
like 12 seconds of someone tweeting, like, call Congress.
Less than 12 seconds. And if you're, say, a senator from California, you have 40 million people whose voices you need to hear. And the impact of this.
300 voicemails.
Yeah, 300 voicemails.
So you're solving that, right? Because you will take voicemails, first of all, you never get a busy signal because it's cloud scale. You take the voicemails, you transcribe them automatically, so that the staffers, because that's one of the jobs these staffers do, they sit there and they transcribe a phone call by hand. They spend half their day doing that. They can't call anyone back. They can't have a real conversation. So you transcribe it for them. You allow them to text too, right?
Yeah, so we brought text messaging into Congress for the first time. It's a normal way of communicating. It hasn't been brought into the institution before. And what that's doing is when you call, you get an automatic text message back. So immediately you are validated that your voice was counted, not silenced by, say, a full voicemail box.
And what's the impact you're seeing now, having rolled this out to Congress?
What we're seeing is surprised and delighted constituents. Now imagine that, right? We are pretty down on the institution and its ability to solve the right problems. We're seeing constituents call and text and being shocked. Like the messages that we see coming in, just saying thank you for being responsive. That's how we build trust and rebuild the capacity of the institution. And the people that we work with every day, those young men and women who are serving their country and doing their best with poor systems, they're unleashed. They're actually able to focus on the right priorities for the right people and have human conversations with the people on the other end of the phone. That's revolutionary, and that's how it should work every day.
Fantastic. Now, you started by focusing on Congress, so the House of Representatives, senators. What's next?
Well, those problems, that massive communications crisis that we're seeing in Congress, a flavor of that exists everywhere else, whether it's the San Francisco Board of Supervisors here, Sacramento, your small city council. What our goal is to rebuild the entire communications infrastructure of representative democracy so that every voice coming in is heard and everybody is serving has the ability to be responsive.
That's an amazing mission. Thank you for undertaking this mission. Everybody, please give it up for Seamus and Article 1.
Thanks,
awesome.
Jeff. Appreciate
Congratulations.
it. Thank you.
Who's going to fix how Congress communicates? That guy. Isn't that amazing? We love these stories. It's amazing seeing what you all are building on top of Twilio, the types of problems that you solve. In fact, last year, we built Twilio Quest as a way to help people learn Twilio even faster. And it's an easy, fun way to learn. It's all gamified. You've all got your hack packs with our 8-bit Twilio Quest on them. It's all part of this way to help people learn Twilio even faster. Because it turns out, and it's proven to us, that learning complex ideas, like how to use an API, doesn't have to be a dry and boring affair, right? It turns out students actually learn faster and enjoy it when they're having fun. Makes sense, right? And now with Twilio Quest, we launched it last year, thousands of developers have racked up millions of experience points on Twilio Quest, enabling them to build new and amazing things. But while learning a new API like Twilio or a new framework is hard, it's not half as hard as learning your first API or your first programming language or just learning to code, period. And that's why stories that we love about people like JavaScript Joe, who learned to code. We love those stories. They inspire us. We've got other stories like that, too, in our community. We've got the story of Doug McKenzie, a magician who heard about Twilio and wanted to incorporate communications into his magic act. So he learned to code in order to be able to do that. He learned to code because he had this idea, but he didn't know how to code. He learned to code. I love the story of Vanessa Ortiz. She was doing Hackbright, and after she finished Hackbright, she learned to code so she could build an SMS app to help orphanages in the Dominican Republic. Or what about the story of Ryan Leslie, the Grammy-nominated rapper who wanted to engage better with his fans, so he learned to code so that he could take Twilio and let them and text with his fans at scale. Learn to code so he could meet his fans. That's amazing. And we asked ourselves, how can we inspire and equip even more people who aren't even developers, to get started using Twilio and to get started on their journey to learn to code and to be a part of this communications renaissance? And so we asked ourselves, why can't Twilio Quest be doing more? So we're expanding the mission of Twilio Quest. We want Twilio Quest to equip over 1 million people in their journey to become developers or to improve their development skills by learning a new API, learning a new framework, or even just learning to code from the beginning. We want millions of developers to rack up billions of experience points because Twilio Quest is a fun and easy way to do it. Now, this is a sneak peek of the new version of Twilio Quest that's coming out after the new year. Y'all are getting a sneak peek of it. But that's our quest with Twilio Quest. We want to help more and more people continually up-level those skills and learn to code. We also want to give more opportunities for new developers to join Twilio and be part of the company that we're building, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds. And that's why last year we announced our apprenticeship program. We call it Hatch. And it gives people from non-traditional development backgrounds, coming from boot camps, especially those boot camps serving underrepresented populations, it gives them the opportunity to get their first job in engineering. Now, we've run 2 cohorts since we announced it last year, and I'm really excited to say these are just a few of the apprentices who've joined Twilio full-time. In fact, 90% of our apprentices have now have full-time engineering jobs at Twilio, and we are so excited for them. Now, we want to scale this up. We want hundreds of apprentices joining Twilio as engineers. In fact, we want to share what we've learned in building Hatch, the apprenticeship program, with other companies, so ultimately we can impact thousands or tens of thousands of people who are coming into the world of development, becoming developers, and joining this industry. Because we feel this industry, if we are going to impact the world and we are going to continue to drive this communications renaissance and the technological renaissance that's going on, our industry and our company needs to reflect the world that we're trying to change. And so we set some goals recently. We set some goals for what Twilio looks like in the year 2023. We've set a goal for a more diverse and inclusive company. In 2023, we want the company to be half women and 30% underrepresented populations. Why? Because we want every single person who has the talent and the skills and the desire to help join this mission that we're on to want to join Twilio. We want them to feel like they belong here. As Mitch Kapor, one of the early investors in Twilio and one of the founders of Lotus Notes, what he always says, I love this, he says, talent is evenly distributed by zip code, but opportunities are not. So we want to do our part to help fix that, because great people are overlooked every day by most companies in this industry. People who can help us achieve our company mission and participate in this great communications renaissance that's going on. And so we want to do our part. Now, as we think ahead to the next decade of this communications renaissance, we ask, who is going to create that? You will. And we're here to help. So all the things that we're talking about today and what we're here to do is to help fuel you on your journey for the next decade, because you are the ones who are going to drive this future forward. So now you ask, how? How is this going to unfold? Well, first of all, think about your company. What are the communications that you do at your company, and how can you influence them? And how is the Renaissance going to impact how your company communicates? And if you think about it, really, companies have 2 kinds of communication. You've got collaboration and you've got engagement. Collaboration is how you get work done, in the office, behind the firewall. It's, Slack for chat, or video conferencing, or your PBX. And these are apps. You want apps. You actually want standardization for your collaboration, right? You want, your video conferencing system to interop with another company's video conferencing system. You want when a new employee joins, they're like, yeah, I know how to use Slack, that's easy. But you know what? No company ever differentiated themselves by what PBX they used. That's just never happened. But engagement, on the other side, that is a completely different story. That is how you differentiate yourself, because that's your brand. That's how you talk to your customers. That's your voice. It's the experience that you build. That engagement model, how you talk to your customers, is almost by definition how you're differentiating yourself in the eyes of your customers. So what systems are we using to drive these communications with our customers today? Because you know what? Quite frankly, for most companies, this isn't going very well. We all feel it as customers when we deal with brands, we deal with companies. It doesn't feel like they know how to engage with us in any form of coherent way. And if you don't believe me, here's a statistic. We did a survey of businesses, and we asked them how well they felt they communicated with their customers. And 94% of businesses report that they have great communications with their customers. I guess it's kind of like those surveys of parents, like where every parent thinks their kid is above average. Well, the thing the companies didn't know, we were also surveying customers to see what they thought. And 96% of customers disagreed and said these brands do not have great communications. So why is this so hard? We all feel it as customers. We know that it's so hard to get a great experience when we deal with brands. Why is this so hard? Well, the problem really lies in how most companies have architected their systems, because most companies are comprised of a bunch of systems of record. You've got these systems. You've got ERP systems and CRM systems and e-commerce systems. They're basically glorified databases, and they're all handling little bits of that customer interaction. The ERP system is sending out bills. The CRM has got some sales calls, and the marketing automation system, it's got some data stored over there. There's some data in that other system over there. And in the contact center, you've got human beings trying to load up the right system of record just to find out what's going on. It's really hard to integrate these systems and make a sensible experience. Why are we trying to engage with our customers with systems that were never designed from this? They're basically databases. They're not communications. And they all have these different data models and different schemas and programming models. They're run by different parts of our organizations. And when you try to make a change, all these systems are fighting each other. It's kind of like that scene from Anchorman, where all the different news teams are going to come together for a big rumble. Whose data source is the source of truth on this communications? I don't know. You guys do it. And in the middle of that whole mess is your customer. The question is, why are you trying to create this holistic, integrated, and sensible customer engagement with your customer that from their point of view is just seamless and easy? Why are you trying to do that with these fixed, monolithic apps? It's just not right. It's never going to work out. Well, the answer, of course, is APIs. And see, we've had this front row seat now for 10 years. What it's like when it's done well, when companies take APIs and they have an idea for what they want to build and they just go build it. And they create these great experiences when you're unshackled from all these other systems. Because these great experiences, when they're done right, they're incredibly memorable. They stand out. For example, here's an experience that I recently had. I was staying at a hotel. And when I checked in, I got the room key. And on the back, it said, if you need help, I'm locked out, you just text us. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of useful. So I just put the key in my pocket, forgot about it. Then the next day, I'm at my door, and put the key card in, and I get the red light, you must have put it too close to your phone. And I was like, I'm in a hurry. I got to go down to the front desk and get a new key. This is really inconvenient. And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute. They said I could text this exact scenario. So I pulled out the card, turned it over, and texted the hotel, like literally using the words that are on the card. I'm locked out of my room, help. And sure enough, about 10 seconds later, I got a reply back. Said, we'll send someone right up. Sure enough, about 20 seconds later, some guy walked out of a door. He was a security guy. He checked my ID and was like, okay, I can let you in. Let me in my room. What an amazing experience that was. That's such an amazing experience. It stands out. I've told friends, I've told family, I've just told 3,000 of you this story. Those are the moments that really create customers for life. And the answer, there's no app for this. It takes a company understanding their customers to be able to do this. It's not these big systems of record. It is understanding your customers and using APIs. And that's why we built this Twilio customer engagement platform, to give you the tools that you need to be able to take all these moments you're trying to create and build them. So we started down here by interconnecting with the world's phones and all the networks of the world to make it so you could make voice calls and send text messages to any phone in the world. Then we added all these newer channels of communication, things like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and Alexa, and added those into the mix. And then we added all these intelligent APIs on top that let you do amazing things with all those communications channels to build the kinds of apps that you want. And then finally, we added on top application platforms, accelerants for the common use cases that you have to help you get those live quickly, but still maintain the power of APIs, things like Twilio Flex. And then we added a rich set of developer tools for all these products to make building, not just building, but deploying and scaling and operating these things easy for the developers and the operators and everybody involved. So what's possible with this engagement platform? Well, we see customers taking this platform into every part of the customer journey. There's so many different ways that you can use Twilio. Alerts, notifications, marketing, sales, call tracking, field service. Any point in the customer lifecycle is a point where you can delight a customer and build better engagement by just knowing what your customer is trying to accomplish. And you know what's even more powerful? Is when you take all these sort of lifecycle points and you integrate them together and you make it seamless. That's a magical customer experience. You know, last year here, I shared a customer called Rinse that does dry cleaning. And they've connected all those points together, the process of picking up your dry cleaning, delivering it back to you, and they've made that whole process seamless. Well, today I wanted to share a few more stories of how developers working at a wide variety of companies are seeing these opportunities to transform their customer engagement. Take, for example, Redfin. See, they had this problem. Buying a house is a big deal, and so you'd be on the Redfin site for like hours looking at houses. And then finally, you built up the courage to make, to say, you know what, this might be my dream house. And you'd reach out to Redfin. And they had one phone number on the site, you'd call it, and the Redfin agent would answer and say, hi there, how can I help you? You like start from scratch. Yeah, I'm interested in this property. Okay, what city, what state? It was a really bad experience. It was if you hadn't just spent an hour on their website trying to engage with them, it didn't seem like they really cared. So they said, who's going to solve this problem of getting our customers off on the right foot? You know who's going to solve it? Developers. So you know what they did? They put a Twilio phone number on every one of those listing pages so that when you called, they knew what listing you were calling about, and the agent could answer the phone and say, hi, how can I help you? I see you're interested in 123 Main Street. It's beautiful, 4 bedrooms. Great experience. And then when they need to get the listing agent on the phone, they want to connect you live if you're really interested in it. It used to be they'd like send an email. It might take a few days. The agent was busy. They get back to you. Now they send a text message. They get that agent in real time on the phone, and they get this relationship started right. And now the whole communication cycle, from the moment you discover the house online to the moment you close, has communications in every step of the way, just to make it a seamless and delightful experience. And the developers got that started. Now we have another customer. Talk about the communications renaissance. We have another customer whose name is literally a phone number. I wanted to show you, let's hear from them.
If you really think about the gifting business, you really get to be part of people's life experience. It is such a privilege to be part of the customer's journey. 1-800-Flowers has a very simple mission, and that is to help people express their deepest emotions.
From the moment they interact with our brand to the point where they add a product to the cart to the way they want to pay. Those magic touch points are critical in building this trust with our customer.
And Tullio, I think, brings that vision, the strategy, and the platform for us to do that. It gives our customers the best of the product experience.
You can have multiple ways that the customers can reach you, but it is imperative for brands to have a single way of reaching back to the customer in one unified manner.
With Twilio, we can actually do that through SMS, through Facebook Messenger, through WhatsApp.
They help us unify our conversations and communication with our customers.
Developers love it, product people love it, it's extremely reliable, and then the best part I love about it is it's customizable.
So for example, we'll use Twilio to make sure our customers immediately know when the flowers are on their way.
So if you were a 1-800-Flowers customer, and let's say you just come to us 2 days before Valentine's Day, our call centers are jammed because all the customers want to know where their order is.
Now we are able to eliminate all those calls because we send real-time notification as soon as the flowers are delivered.
As soon as we send you the text that order is confirmed, I can guarantee you that you feel relieved that, oh, my order is through.
Having a partner like Twilio that can be equally robust at scaling up in the critical times that we need them is absolute necessity for us.
From a product standpoint, from a developer standpoint, it's really helping us transform that customer journey.
Twilio is really bringing us back to our roots. As our customers themselves have changed and are reaching us in multiple ways, we can take one technology, one platform, and cater to all of those needs.
I love the way Amit I love the way Amit describes their problem. See, their mission is to help people express their deepest emotions. But they have the only product where the person who buys the product never receives it. So you never get that, like, did it get there? You never get that little dopamine rush of like, oh, I got something new. You don't get it. Someone else does. And so they're saying, how do we give you that sense that when you made this purchase, like, it was good, that you're not in the doghouse with mom on Mother's Day because maybe she didn't get the flowers, right? So they figured out that if they integrated communications, that whole loop, keep you in the loop, they give you that little dopamine rush and make you feel really good about the gifting that you're doing. Now, 800 Flowers, their name is a phone number. They use SMS for notifications, for order confirmations and shippings and delivery, but not just SMS, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and it's not just a phone number anymore. 1-800-Flowers is a true omnichannel company. And the other amazing thing, in addition to delighting customers, is they're saving a ton of money. Because people used to, like, all day on Mother's Day be calling the phone number. Did it get delivered? Did it get delivered? Now they proactively notify you. They're saving a ton of money on call deflection, and it's a better customer experience. So yeah, sign me up. That's awesome. So 1-800-Flowers, changing the experience of delivering flowers. But what about changing the experience of how we deliver everything else? Well, that is FedEx's job. And so FedEx's job is to make that a delightful experience for every company. And so to talk about how FedEx is using communications to change their customer experience, please welcome up Chip Hull and Fed Lara to talk about Federal Express. Welcome, Fed.
Thank you.
So, tell us about the journey that you're on with FedEx Cross Border.
Well, FedEx Cross Border is more of a movement than it is a business. And that movement really is to democratize commerce. It's connecting buyers and sellers across the globe. You know, our chairman has always called FedEx the clipper ship of the modern age, connecting physically markets around the world. We're doing that digitally now with your help.
I love that idea that your mission with FedEx Cross Border is to democratize cross-border commerce. Because if you think about it, it is really hard for, say, a small merchant to sell their products in some market that's halfway around the world.
Without filling a gigantic ship, correct, and getting distributors and all this thing going across.
Or even just knowing about customs and how to
all that stuff, yes.
Yeah, right? So tell me about what does it take to democratize global commerce?
Well, that's one of the most interesting things, is that there isn't one path or one solution or one barrier. It's really thinking that, yes, one item can be sold in over 220 countries and territories, and that you can do it with people you've never met, speak a different language, different religion, different time zone. How can you really make that happen? And what we feel social media has done is make that connection of communication from the buyer and the seller on it. But now, how do we make that happen in real time everywhere for just one item? That excites any type of merchant on that level, absolutely.
And what does it take technically to be able to do that?
Technically, to be able to do that by yourself, a whole bunch of research, a whole bunch of information, Chip, right? It does. And what we feel is you're already doing it. You're already connecting with your customers. You're already speaking with them on one level, right? But how do you actually get them in their currency? How do you get them to actually be able to connect? And this is where the real core of what we're talking about here. Everywhere that you're expanding, the super network that I see, or maybe I shouldn't even say that right now because you're mentioning it. Anywhere that you can communicate into is where we want to be there. And we want to be able to connect these two people and get commerce to happen on all that level.
Because without communications, there's no commerce, right? So in that global, communications is essential.
It's the core of all that.
Which is like especially true. If any of you have ever ordered something from some website somewhere else around the world, or you find out it's being shipped, you like there's this
block.
All this ambiguity. You're like, when is it going to get here? Is it ever going to get here?
Correct.
What's the deal with customs? How does that work? And that's as the consumer, let alone as the merchant who's trying to actually make all that stuff work.
Correct. Or even the fact that the product that you like and that you think you buy from a major merchant, and it can't even enter your country. And you didn't know that, nor did the merchant know that even before all that happened, for example.
So how does Tullio help you meet this challenge? Like, what are the problems you're trying to solve to make it a great customer experience? And the main reason why you came to Tullio to help you solve these problems?
Well, what happens is again, we look at it as cross-border is more an opportunity than a problem. And literally, that's how we tell our merchants that they didn't even know it's out there, believe it or not. They're just saying, can I throw it in the marketplace and hopefully the best will come with that? And it's really not out there. I said, if you're communicating on one level to them, with Twilio, from every single lane that you have available, from the social communication, right, to the text messaging, to now even the programmable apps, everything area, you need to use communications to get to each one of these people, not just at the buy-in, but the fulfillment, the coming back. The circle keeps going and going and going. Like Chip says, Twilio is at the core of that communication, and commerce happens throughout that whole process.
So basically create this amazing customer experience for all merchants, no matter where they are, and no matter where they're sending it.
Absolutely.
In their most complex transactions.
That's correct.
To make that a delightful experience that works everywhere.
Correct. We make it easier, that means we're doing our jobs, right? Isn't that the whole goal here?
And I love that notion of democratizing global commerce.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for undertaking this mission on behalf of everyone in the world who has something to create and something to bring to the world. They are going to benefit massively from what you're doing. Thank you for
From what we're doing. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you,
for
Fed.
everybody here.
Thank you, Chip. Let's hear for Chip and Fed from Federal Express.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we have one more customer we want to talk about. Just kidding, he's not really, this is a fake customer. So y'all know we got Tony Hawk coming tomorrow. And we asked ourselves, why is Tony Hawk coming tomorrow? Well, we've got a bunch of products that we're going to announce in the coming today and tomorrow. And we wanted to show you what it's like to create a customer experience end-to-end with a bunch of these products. And so we had this idea. You know the popularity of the dockless bikes and the dockless scooters that are taking over all of our cities and really changing the way we get around? What if Tony Hawk started a dockless skateboard company? He doesn't know we're doing this. We're just gonna, we're gonna pitch him on it tomorrow and see what he thinks. We thought it would be pretty cool, but let's see it. So today we're gonna sort of create this hypothetical company, Kickflip, and we're going to pitch Tony on it tomorrow and see if he likes it. But we're going to use this as a vehicle to talk about what it creates to create this sort of great customer experience. Now, those are just a few of the examples of companies that are transforming how they communicate with their customers. Active participants, like all of you are in this communications renaissance, changing how you engage with your customers. Now, customers expect a great experience at every step of the way. But you can't have that great experience, like you heard Chip and Fed just say, if it doesn't work everywhere your customers are, if it doesn't work everywhere in the world, if it's not working all the time on your behalf, high availability, high security, as we like to say at Twilio, trust is the #1 thing that we sell. Because you can't have a great communications renaissance if you don't have trust. And so to tell you a bit more about what Twilio is doing to build our platform and to build our trust and to build up those super networks and our global reach and our high availability and all that, please welcome up Christine Roberts, the general manager of Twilio's Super Network.
Hi, everybody. You heard Jeff talk a lot about customer engagement and the customer relationship. And when I think about the foundation of really good relationships, I think about it as being built on a foundation of trust. And I was thinking back to my very first week at Twilio, sitting in a Twilio 101 class, learning all about the company I just joined. And I go back to the head of engineering put up a slide, and it said, trust is the #1 thing we do. #2, everything else. And so when you look at the Twilio customer engagement platform, what made me so excited to join Twilio is the fact that it was built on that foundation of trust. And obviously near and dear to my heart, at the very base of that platform is the Twilio Super Network. And the Twilio Super Network today can reach over 6 billion people worldwide, serve over 90% of the world's GDP. We have commercial agreements in place with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of carriers around the world. And we have connectivity and phone numbers in well over 100 countries at this point. But you can imagine, in the world of telecommunications, that every now and then something goes wrong in that massive number of connections and all of that connectivity. But the cool thing about the super network is, based on the software layer we've built on top of it, if we know about the issues, then we've got the route depth to route around those issues. And so we took the over 1 trillion data events that platform ingests every single month, and we applied some machine learning and some, thank goodness for really smart data scientists. And as a function of that, we now detect over 97% of incidents in real time. That's huge. But I hear from customers all the time, and I try not to take it personally, that, candidly, Christine, I really don't want to have to manage all that complexity. I really don't have to worry about all those connections and connectivities and geopolitical boundaries and carrier agreements. And that's why the important part of the super network is that we abstract that complexity away. And we roll it up into the channels that you leverage, WeChat, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and we roll it into APIs that you can just use. And you get all that complexity managed away from a platform that's built from the ground up on trust. But what this translates to in the real world is that companies like Medtronic, one of the most trusted companies building medical devices today, when they built a device to send notifications to caregivers of patients with type 1 diabetes when their blood sugar spiked out of control, when they needed to send that notification, they trusted Twilio. It means companies like USAA voted the #1 trusted insurance provider in 2016 when they need to notify one of their 12 million service members about a hurricane that's coming in, or get back to their service members urgently about a claims processing issue. They trusted Twilio. Because you see, trusted companies trust Twilio. But for you developers out there, maybe you're not at the scale of a USAA or a Medtronic, but for you developers out there, should be a great comfort in knowing that the platform that you're building on has that level of trust embedded in it. You can be like my neighbor who built a Twilio app to notify him once every 2 years when his sump pump went off. So no matter what scale you're building at today, whether it's one notification every 2 years or tens of millions of SMSs every month, you can trust Twilio. But interestingly enough, the other exciting part about trust is regulations and compliance. Yeah, I know. And it's funny because as much as I hear from customers about, I really don't have to want to worry about the complexity of carrier connectivity, I hear even more that I really don't want to hear about compliance and regulations, so they gave that section to me. But we have teams of people at Twilio who love to solve these kinds of problems. And so you'll see, obviously, we have ISO compliance, and we're part of the Cloud Security Alliance, and SOC 2 compliance for Authy, our two-factor authentication API. And this year, we announced this spring that we were GDPR compliant. Hallelujah. And I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind applause. But what's actually important here is not that Twilio is GDPR compliant. What's actually important here is that Twilio enables you to be GDPR compliant. And so when you need to delete your customers' data in a GDPR-compliant way, Twilio built an API for that. And when you need to make sure your customers' personal information, PII, is stored in a GDPR-compliant way, you can trust Twilio for that. Because you see, we've abstracted the complexity away yet again. And you want to build on a company that's not complying for compliance sake, because these labels are all great. You want to build on a company that's complying with compliance for your sake. That's what you should applaud. But when I think about the companies that I would want to build my business on, the companies I want to engage on, these are all great. We talked about quality and trust and reliability and scale and compliance and regulations. But what I really care about is the company going to keep up with the speed of innovation. Because you see, when the channel world started, it was actually pretty easy to keep up. First there was voice, and there was chat, email, SMS. It was relatively easy to keep on track. But then it's like somebody injected coaxium into the fuel line. No? Okay, all right. It's like somebody injected coaxium into the fuel line. All of a sudden there's WhatsApp and Snapchat and Alexa and you name it. It went crazy. You need a company that's going to keep up with the pace of change because, candidly, channel proliferation is not slowing down. And so, when I think about this problem, I think about it in the context, and I'm about to age myself here, when I think about it in the context of an old I Love Lucy episode where she's standing at the end of an assembly line trying to pack chocolates. And she's doing pretty well keeping up, and then all of a sudden the assembly line goes faster and faster and faster, and there's chocolates everywhere. But maybe a more relevant example for all of you is the example that I live in my house every day. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and at least once or twice a month she walks in and shows me another app that she's leveraging to communicate with her friends and to engage with her friends and to build her relationships. And that's why this year, we've announced Line for Japan, we've announced RCS for messaging, and in partnership with WhatsApp, we've announced the Tullio for WhatsApp API. But now I'd like you to take a look at another company that's keeping up with the frenetic pace of change. Deliveroo is one of the largest food delivery companies in Europe. And they believe very, very strongly that success is not only success for their customers, but success for their restaurants. The UK named them the #1 company in 2017. The UK Fast 50 named them the #1 company in 2017. And no other company in the history of the Fast 50 has ever grown at this rate. Let's hear from them now.
When people say food, we want people to think of Deliveroo. We're on a mission to become the definitive food company worldwide.
Especially in the food journey and getting that to your door, there are certain points which are absolutely critical for our customers to know about.
For us, the communications is a crucial part of that mission. If our website goes down or if our mobile apps are being unresponsive, then our business is going to do a halt.
For us, trust is critical. So it's really important that we pick technology partners who help us deliver that. Working with Twilio gives us a great partnership, and it really enables us to make the right decisions for our customers.
Deliveroo is an international company. We're live in 12 different countries and growing.
Our customer base has become extremely diverse. It's really important that we communicate with our customers on the channel that really fits their needs. Twilio has allowed us to scale really easily.
We don't have to build custom integrations with WhatsApp. We don't have to build custom integrations with text notifications. With Tullio, we got the opportunity to reach our customers through a single integration. It basically allows us to provide a better customer experience.
We've actually had a much higher opt-in rate than we've had with any other campaign that we've run in that exact same space, which is really awesome for us. What's going to set you apart from people is how you do things better. Twilio enables us to focus on what we do best, which is giving a great customer experience.
welcome to the stage Rama Javed, Director of Engineering for Deliveroo. Welcome, Rama.
Thank you.
So obviously, Rama, Deliveroo is keeping up with this amazing frenetic pace of change. And I loved when you talked about in the video all the different channels you're communicating with your customers with. But tell me a little bit of why communicating across multiple channels actually improves your customer experience.
So it improved it across like several fronts, but the most important one has been flexibility. As a growing business, it's very important for us to support all the different types of clients that we have. And we can't satisfy them all through a single solution. We need to meet our customers at their preferred channel of communication. So if a customer wants to talk to us on WhatsApp, we should be able to send them notification about their order on WhatsApp, as opposed to forcing them to get that through our app.
Thanks. And I thought it was really interesting that your customers don't necessarily use the mobile app. And I was curious, just how prevalent is WhatsApp, and why is that the channel that customers choose?
So it's actually quite prevalent. About 50% of our first-time users order through the web. And it makes sense because downloading an app requires a lot of commitment. And our customers would rather try Deliveroo first and then download the app. And it's also helped us scale because otherwise those customers would be pinging our customer service reps in terms of where's my food, as opposed to now they get that all through a WhatsApp-like notification.
Thank you. And it's interesting to me, why did you choose to go use the Tullio for WhatsApp API as opposed to going to WhatsApp directly?
Well, with WhatsApp API, or the Twilio API for WhatsApp, we could actually focus on the product and not worry about the complexity or integrating with WhatsApp-like requirements. We're able to actually also have a very positive experience previously when we integrated with Twilio for SMS. And in the future, if you want to expand out to like other platforms like messaging, like WeChat for other messaging platforms that were live in other countries, we can just do that through Twilio.
Perfect. Can you give us a little bit of kind of what's coming next from Deliveroo, or any interesting ways that you're going to use the Twilio APIs or the WhatsApp APIs to improve Deliveroo?
Well, we have a lot of plans for that, but for that, you're going to have to come to our session that's happening at 2 p.m. At the Jarvis Room. It's called How We Built the Twilio API for WhatsApp.
Thank you. Thanks, Rava. And with that, let me welcome back my fearless leader, Jeff Lawson.
Thank you, Christine. All right, so if you think about what Twilio's been doing for the last 10 years, right, we've got all these channels of communications that you use to power your applications. You've got voice, got messaging, you've got video, but one of the things that we've heard loud and clear when we talk to customers is that one channel is missing, and it's a channel that is incredibly important to your businesses, and that is email. So you may have heard the news earlier this week that Twilio has agreed to acquire SendGrid, the leading cloud email platform. And so to talk a little bit more about the importance of email for every company, please welcome up the CEO of SendGrid, Samir Dalakia. Samir, come on up. Samir, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here at Signal.
So, first of all, tell us the story of the SendGrid journey.
It's been incredible. I think very similar to the Twilio journey. About 9 years ago, we started on this quest to go enable developers to embed email communications into their apps. And so, the simple use cases that many of the developers in the audience will recognize, when you sign up for a new service, you get a confirmation email. That email comes in your inbox, you click on it, and it confirms who you are. You might hit the buy button, and a receipt automatically gets triggered. If I forgot my password, I click the password button. There's just got to be code that sits behind that to gather the right information and get it sent to you. And it turned out that actually doing that was more complicated than developers expected it to be. We had 3 founders, developers, and they said, this is just way too hard. You wouldn't think that getting email sent would be that hard. And it turns out it wasn't the sending part, it was actually getting it delivered that was the hard part. And so we spent the last 9 years building a easy-to-adopt API for all of our developers, hopefully some in the audience here, that could just plug it in behind their applications and ensure that the emails would not just get sent, but they were going to get to the inbox providers and into the main folders, not get dropped into spam. And that's what we've been working on.
I mean, it's kind of like our super network, where we go out and work with the carriers of the world, we interop, and we understand how they work, we know how to reach them, like we know how to deal with the whole carrier network. You have been doing the same for ISPs. You have a super network of essentially email companies,
Absolutely.
Right?
Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail and the long tail of inbox providers and all the businesses out there. They have to be able to reach their users on whatever ISP they're using. So that was really the problem that we set out to solve. Our developers said we got to make it super easy to adopt. It's got to be high scale, and it's got to be super reliable because, as we talked about, as Christine just talked about, we're in the business of providing trust. You guys are trusting us to make sure that those critically important communications to your users actually get there, because there's nothing more frustrating in the world than your password reset not getting there within seconds. I was just talking to Home Depot in the back, who's also using SendGrid for password resets. And he said, yeah, that was the reason we moved over to you guys, was it was taking 20 seconds for our customers to get their password resets from our previous solution. And we had to get it over there in 1 or 2 seconds, not 20. So that's what we've been working on. We've been very privileged to serve now over 74,000 customers around the world. Literally millions of developers have signed up on our platform, tens of thousands of startups, all the way to some of the largest businesses on the planet. You guys, we're in your inbox every single day. If you get out of an Uber ride and that receipt shows up, that's coming from SendGrid. If you got a recommended playlist from Spotify, that's being delivered by SendGrid. An auction reminder from eBay, a Home Depot password reset, it just goes on and on. So it's a super scale platform because we've been at it a long time. We now send over 1.5 billion emails every single day. It's nearly 500 billion emails in the year. It's a crazy high-scale system. We're really proud of what we've built. We're reaching, just to give you a sense of scale, over 3 billion unique email recipients every quarter. So that's like literally half of the world's online population.
Wow. So when you go talk to your customers, what are you hearing from them? Where do they want SendGrid to go next?
They are very excited for us to help them solve more problems. How do we get more capabilities so my developer doesn't get bothered when the marketer wants to change the logo in the transactional email? So we've added some capabilities for that in our marketing campaigns product. We are continuing to be asked time and time again, hey, SendGrid, this is awesome. You solved this critically important channel of email. Can you help us with these other channels? Because our consumers all have phones in their pockets and they want push and SMS and text and so on and so forth. And we've just been hearing it for so long, and we'd look over the fence and see, well, gosh, Twilio's doing such an amazing job there. How are we going to make that work? And here we are.
Right? We've been hearing from all of you. You want email as a part of one unified platform. SendGrid, Samir, they're hearing the same thing on the email side, and so that's why we think this is going to be a fabulous combination for the kinds of things that we can build together for all of you to build true omnichannel experiences across every part of the customer journey, with email, finally, as a part of those solutions. And as all the developers out there know, like you go to hackathons, what do you see? You see red track jackets and blue hoodies.
That's right.
Right? And so now we'll all be together. So thank you, Samir, for coming today.
Thanks,
let's give it up for Samir Delakia, the CEO of SendGrid.
Thank you. Super warm welcome. And one reminder for anybody who's still here during the break at 3:45 by the SendGrid booth out in the back exhibit hall, we're going to have cupcakes and a celebration and balloons. Come join us. We're super fired up to bring the two best customer communications platforms in the world together, and we're going to go help you, developers, go build amazing things. We can't wait.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Samir. Let's hear it. So if you think about what we've been doing here for the last 10 years, right? We started Twilio down here, breaking down communications into its constituent parts, like into its atomic pieces, APIs, breaking this whole 100-year industry down into its little pieces, and then allowing you to go build it back up in your image. Make communications what you need it to be, not what they designed it to be. And that's the fundamental playbook of the API economy. You see that SendGrid's done that for email. You see Stripe's done it for payments. That is the playbook of the API economy. And we always ask ourselves, what software industry couldn't be reinvented as an API first? What industry wouldn't be improved if you started with a set of atomic building blocks that could be combined in any way? In fact, last year at Signal, I was here, I said, why isn't that an API? And I pointed at absolutely everything. In fact, we even made hoodies. Why isn't that an API? And that's how we think about the world. And this is different from the software economy, because the software economy works differently. The software economy is about building solutions, which are easy to deploy, but they're not as flexible. You're kind of stuck with the decisions that the product team made when they were building that product. They're monolithic. Now, they're good because they're easy to deploy and they're fast along those lines, but they're not flexible enough. And what we hear from customers all the time is that you have to choose. You have to choose between buying a software app that is fast or using APIs which are flexible. And we've heard from you that you don't like making this decision. It's a really hard decision to make. Why can't I have both speed and flexibility? Is that so much to ask? And so we asked ourselves, we went back to the drawing board. We said, okay, how can we possibly deliver the best of both worlds? Because we all know once you set things into pixels in that user interface, well, that's where you make a lot of the decisions that the customer can't change. That's where you're stuck with those decisions at that user interface layer. And so we got to thinking about it, and we said, well, you know what? On the back end of systems, we've kind of solved this. It's REST APIs. REST APIs have been the answer for how you program back-end systems, and we need the same thing for the front end. And then we realized that we had it. We actually launched it last year. It was called Twilio Frame. It was the full SDK for UI development on top of Twilio. And so now we've brought these two things together, a completely programmable user interface, a completely programmable backend with Frame and REST APIs, and now you have what we call an application platform. And we're finally able to realize this vision of a piece of software that is as easy to deploy as SaaS, but as flexible as APIs. And we think this is a new kind of software. Entirely new kind of software, and we think this is going to end up being an entirely new era of software. And just as SaaS, software as a service, came in and changed how the world buys software, and instead of on-prem, you would buy it in the cloud with a software as a service model, we believe that application platforms have the ability to transform the software industry again. If you can have the speed of an app and the flexibility of an API, what piece of software wouldn't be better? Now, this isn't just a theory we have, because we actually built our first application platform and announced it earlier this year. It's an application platform for the contact center. It's called Flex. And so far, the customer response has been huge. I really think we're onto something. I think this is going to change the software industry forever. Let's take a look. All right. I love a contact center with a beat. Let's hear it for Al Cook, the GM of Flex, to tell us more. Al, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. You know, as Jeff said, this is not just a new feature we're going to show you. This is not a new product. It's not even just a new platform. This is a fundamental transition in how we build software and how you can deliver software. And I cannot wait to show it to you. You know, we have been working on this for years. This is the culmination of a huge amount of effort over years for us. And in fact, I joined Twilio 5 years ago, and over again, I've worked with all sorts of different companies building contact centers on top of Twilio. And over again, I kept hearing, we are stuck between a choice of we can deploy a premise-based application, something like a Cisco or an Avaya or a Genesys, and we can bludgeon it into submission eventually if we throw enough professional services dollars at it, and we have enough time, eventually. Or we can deploy a SaaS application, and we can get going really quickly, but we can't change anything. And over the last few years, my team and I have been thinking, how can we do something that is better than that? How can we do something that is different, where you can get the speed and the scale of the cloud, but the control of build yourself? Flex deploys instantly, and we're going to see that in a second. Out of the box, Flex can deliver voice and text messaging and web chat and Facebook and WhatsApp and screen sharing and co-browsing, video, very soon email. And out of the box, it scales to the very largest contact centers. We have tested this up to 50,000 agents per department. That is something that can support the largest contact centers on the planet. So that's the speed and scale of the cloud, but you also get the control as if you had built this yourself. You have unlimited customization. We wanted to build something where there isn't a single thing in Flex that you cannot change. And we're going to show you that too. And we also wanted something that is ready for the future. And the future of contact center and customer experience, without doubt, is can you integrate artificial intelligence? Can you integrate machine learning? And Flex, out of the box, has hooks at every step of the customer journey and every layer of the stack to integrate artificial intelligence. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it might be time to break out of slides and maybe see something live. All right. So to start off with, we're going to deploy Flex from scratch. And as you look at this, I want you to think and compare this to how this compares to a SaaS deployment experience. So right now, we are in just a regular Twilio account, no Flex, no anything. And we are going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new project. And I'm going to choose the new tile in here, as of today, called Flex. And so as we come in here, I'm going to let's call it Flex Signal, and continue. And we just got a couple of questions we're going to ask. I'm going to invite a few people from the Flex team who have been on this journey for some time to help us be agents a little bit later on. So I'm going to invite them, invite those people. And what happens is Flex is built on top of every single API at Twilio. It really is the culmination of the last 10 years of Twilio. And so Flex orchestrates every single service and gets it ready for you to be a contact center out of the box. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to write a line of code. You don't have to go into an IDE. You just say you want Flex, and we're going to load you straight into Flex. So the first thing it's asking right now is, how do we want this to look? Now, of course, you can change this with code. You can change it down to the exact pixel you want to change. But you can also just choose between a set of different outfits and choose which one you want. You can take one of these, and then you can modify it with your brand palette. But for now, we're going to take the Signal theme. And I'm set up. I've logged in with my Twilio credentials, so I'm in here as an agent. I can come in and come online, and we are ready to start taking some interactions. But let me show you a few other pieces in here. So we also have the administration view. Now, in that same deployment, your IVR was set up, your routing was set up. Every single piece that you need for your contact center is set up and ready to go. And we also have our supervisor interface. Some of those folks who've been signing in have come in and are online. So let me ask my agents to come in online, if I can. And let's see some folks coming in online. You can come online right now. And we have our phone number up here. Let me zoom this in. 641-323-8282. You know, normally in a conference, people don't ask you to do this, but take out your phones and let's get some text messages coming in. 641-323-8282. You see I've got a notification on this top bar because I wasn't actually in the agent view. So I'm going to take a call. You're on stage. It doesn't actually matter because we didn't plug you into the speakers. So I've got a call coming in. You can see I'm also taking some chat interactions. I can take some of these messages. I'm going to accept some of them. I can also come in and see in my supervisor view, this is a real-time supervisor view. So it wasn't just me getting those interactions. It's every single one of these fine folks from the Flex team who are getting it. And so I can click through and I can see their current state. You can see that this is all happening in real time and live. You can click through, you can monitor calls, you can whisper them, you can barge into them. And that is all out of the box. Every single interaction deployed without you having to write a single line of code. All right, let's go back to slides for a second. You know, Jeff said this is a new era of software. And for me, I said we've worked on this for years. And ordinarily, in a software development lifecycle like this, every single day, a product manager or an engineering manager or a tech lead or an engineer is making decisions every single day that you cannot disagree with. You better hope that we got everything right, because you wouldn't be able to disagree with it. You wouldn't be able to change it. And that is something that we wanted to do fundamentally different with Flex. From the very beginning, we set out this philosophy. I don't want to ever have to make a decision that you cannot disagree with, that you cannot change. I don't want there ever to be a feature or a function in Flex that you cannot say, I want it to work differently, I want to add something to this, or I want to remove it entirely. This is why we talk about this as a new era of software, because it's about giving you the control. It's about giving you the ability to change anything that you want anywhere in Flex. You should never have to be in a situation where you have to say, no, we can't do that. Or no, we have to wait for our vendor's roadmap. No, instead, you can always say, yes, we can do that. It's just a few lines of code. And we think that this approach to software will give you the ability to have a totally new era of customer experience. Because when you can change anything, when you can integrate all of those different systems of record together into one interface, when you can move incredibly quickly and experiment with your Flex interface, you can create an agent experience that is exactly what you want. You can create a customer experience that is exactly what you want, and you can move like you would with your website, not like you would with a premise-based solution. And that is Flex. It is fully assembled out of the box. You just saw it. But you can also change anything. You can change what channels it supports. You can change the routing, you can change the workflows, and you can change the user interface itself. Now, there's one challenge with changing everything, and this is something that we'd wrestled with for months. How do we give you that control to be able to change everything without leaving you on some branch of code where the moment you change something, you've forked it, and now you can't take the updates from us? That is the nature of customization normally, and that is why the traditional wisdom is customization can be bad, because the moment you change something, you're stuck, and you have to go on a huge upgrade cycle. And we wanted to build something different, and we thought for a long time, what is the right developer experience to build a different approach to making those changes? And what we came up with is what we call Flex plugins. Flex plugins allow you to build everything in your local development environment. There's no web IDE. This is local development environment with all of the components in your local machine. You build it locally, you test it locally, but what you're building is just the changes to the exact components in the user interface that you want. Just the exact thing. I want to change this text, or I want to change what this button does when I click on it. And then you package that up, and you deploy it to the cloud-hosted version of Flex on Twilio.com, and everything else can update around it. And so you now have control. When do I want Flex to update? When do I want to take those version updates? When do I want to take the plugin updates? You have control of when things update, but you're not off on a branch where you are stuck without the updates. This is a very different way to building software, and something that I'm extremely excited to show you. You know, at Twilio, we like to do things a little differently if you haven't been to Signal before, maybe a little dangerously. And we like to write some code live on stage. If you're not a developer, just as we go through this, think about how quickly we are able to make changes with this model. And to do that, I'm thrilled to welcome up on stage Jen from the developer education team. Jen has been a fantastic member of the Flex team. Please, thank you. All right, so.
Thanks, Al. One of my favorite parts about developing on Flex is I get to write JavaScript just like I do every day. In fact, the Flex plugin builder is built off the popular Create React app that many of you are familiar with. But let's do this live and build one right in front of us.
So what Jen is doing is creating the plugin using our command line toolkit. And she just has to copy in and paste an account SID, and paste that into the plugin creator. And then normally you'd npm install and you'd suck all of these components down from npm. To save a little bit of time, we're just going to symlink them in so we don't have to copy them down off the internet. And that's pretty much it. And so now we've got our plugin and we're ready to go.
We're ready to go, and I'm going to run npm start and kick this off in the browser with a local edition of Flex.
So this is the same version of Flex that you just saw. Previously, it was on flex.twilio.com, and this will be running in localhost. We hope.
This is the fun part about doing it live.
Well, Jen works that out. So the goal here is when you create your npm repo and you have your plugin, let's just create a new one. You get all of the components down and you get an exact version of Flex running in localhost, like this.
And I'll show you really quickly what you get out of the box with the plugin builder. The first file you get is index.js. You don't actually have to touch that file. It just kicks off your plugin. The second one is one that's named after the plugin that you create. This one is called Signal Plugin, because I've named mine Plugin Signal. This has a special init function that takes all of that Flex magic, whether it's components, actions framework, and more, and brings it into your Flex instance. And the third thing you get is a custom component right out of the box so you can start modifying it. You can actually see ours on the screen up in this upper left corner. But there's a little bit too much on my screen, so I'm going to make a customization right now and get rid of that CRM panel.
So that CRM panel is designed that you can integrate your own CRM or your own components inside it. Or of course, you can take Flex and embed Flex inside of a CRM. For now, we don't need it. It's taking up screen real estate. We're just going to go ahead and turn it off. When you save it, it re-webpack builds locally, and then you get the updated version.
And our panel is gone. All right, but let's make some more changes. Today, we're going to build a sentiment analysis plugin. So what I've done is apply a Twilio function to this Flex instance that attaches sentiment using Microsoft Cognitive Services to every inbound chat that we're having. But that's not showing up in the UI right now, and that's the power of React and what we get to do. So we're actually going to start with that custom demo component. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and move it to the task canvas. And you'll see once this reloads, it's no longer going to be in the left side panel. It's going to be at the top of the chats. So I click into this chat with Al, and we can see this is our demo component. It's moved. Many of the components in Flex are completely modular. All you have to do is move them around. But let's get custom.
So what Jen's going to do now is we put a function, a serverless function up in this account, which takes the message from every interaction that we have and runs it through that Cognitive Services API to get the sentiment. And it just attaches it as an attribute on the task. And then every attribute update on a task comes down to the UI. And our component can react to that. So now we have a sentiment score.
Yep, so if you look at the top of the chat panel, we see a number 0.80. But unfortunately, that's not very useful to my contact center agents. They can't really tell what 0.80 means. So let's customize this further.
Great, so we're going to copy in just a couple of small files that we built earlier, just so you don't have to watch us code everything. And these are basically two React components. One is an agent component that is going to round out, finishing off the display of the sentiment for that current interaction. And one is a supervisor component, so that in that supervisor view I showed you earlier in the out-of-the-box experience, we're going to add a view using an emoji of the sentiment of every current interaction. So Jen just has to import those components into our plugin builder from the file she's just copied in. Again, these are just React components right now. Importing the agent view, importing the supervisor view, and then we can go ahead and attach it to our local Flex instance. Let's take a look. And then this is attaching it to the supervisor view, which is a list of task cards. So the supervisor view, the JSX model has a task card component, which is every single task that is currently going on.
All right, and I'll save and reload. And as you see, when I click in the task, we've got an emoji, our customer is happy, and it has turned green, so we can see the temperature of that conversation. Likewise, when I click into the supervisor view, you can see those conversations with the agents with their relative temperatures as well. It looks like we have a lot of happy customers today. But this is all happening on my local environment, and so my other agents can't access this just yet. Let's go ahead and show the deploy process and see how easy that is.
So this is where the plugin model is completely different to anything you've seen before. We package up just the changes that you've made, just those few changes that you've made and the components you want to add, and we package it up into one file. Now, you can roll out a plugin in waves across groups of agents in version groups. We're just going to give it to everyone right now. And so all we have to do is deploy that plugin by dropping it into assets, Twilio's file hosting. And now in the cloud version of Flex on flex.twilio.com. It will pick up that plugin, and it is live. That is all it took. All right, so that is the process of building a plugin. Building it locally, there's no web ID. You're building it locally in your local experience and how you can change the UI. Now, next we wanted to show you how much a plugin can change the UI. Jeff talked earlier about Tony Hawk being here, about kickflip boards, dockless skateboards. We thought it would be fun to show you how dramatically you can change Flex with a plugin. And so we built a new version of that Supervisor View in a 1990s Tony Hawk theme. This is 100% a live Supervisor View of all of the same data and all of the same sentiment with the beautiful addition of a 3D spinning model and a skateboard. Dockless skateboard, no less. But that shows you the extent to which you can change absolutely anything. Now, sometimes you can change things a little bit too much, don't you think? I think maybe the 1990s Tony Hawk thing might have gone a little bit too far. So we're gonna delete that plugin. Aww. And show you that the process of undoing something is just the same. We delete a plugin, we wait for that plugin to delete, and we're done. And then we built maybe a little bit more of a modern kickflip skateboard theme. So we're going to refresh and take a look at that. All right. It's a little bit more muted, a little bit more modern, maybe. Now, we got one more thing that we wanted to show you, which is ordinarily, or so far, the plugins that we've shown you are focused on user interface changes. But this is just part of the Flex stack. And you can tie together the changes you've made in the UI with changes you want to make in the fundamental behavior of the call flows or the message flows, or adding in something completely different itself. And so we have created an Authy plugin, which is going to add authentication of the customer into the Flex flow. And so the goal here is that what we want to do is, if we need to verify a customer's identity before we do an interaction, we can use Authy to do that. So let's take a look.
So I've dragged the plugin onto our Assets Manager, and now I've got the Authy plugin. You can see the lock over here. I'll zoom in just a bit. And I've been having a conversation with Al, and he wants one of those limited edition long-range skateboards. But I need to prove it's really him before I can let him order. So what I'm going to do is instantiate a push notification challenge to verify his identity. As you can see, the plugin is awaiting his approval, and Al's just got the push notification.
Yeah, I'll approve this, I guess.
And the authentication was successful, and now we know it's a verified interaction. No challenge questions, no asking his mother's maiden name, just a push notification.
OK, so that is a quick tour of Flex, the deployment experience of Flex, the ability to change Flex, the development experience, and how extensively plugins can change Flex. Please, thank you for joining me, Jen.
Thank you.
That's Flex. It deploys like SaaS. It integrates like a premise solution, can integrate to anything. And it gives you a platform where you can iterate like a web application. As Jeff said, we launched this in March, and we were inundated with requests for access. We had thousands of requests for access. And over the last few months, we have been working with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of companies who have been building their contact center on Flex. One of those companies is an incredibly successful company by the name of Shopify. And we built a video to show you their story. I'd like to roll that now.
Shopify is a commerce platform that allows entrepreneurs to start a business and then grow it. Starting a business is difficult, it's stressful, it's emotional. The experience we want to create is something that's easy. We want the human touch, we want the care, we want to be able to build the trust and form a relationship.
We have more than 1,000 people in our total customer support organization. They're supporting more than 600,000 Shopify merchants around the world. To be able to give them the tools to cultivate those relationships from wherever they're located is pretty essential. If you can't rely on a system to actually do the things that you need it to, then all those other human relationships begin to also fall apart. We needed something reliable.
Flex changes the game. It allows us to build an experience the way we want it without having to change our business. We can wrap Flex around Shopify instead of having to wrap Shopify around Flex.
With Flex, the biggest opportunity that I have is to be able to give my team an opportunity to try things and design an experience for our customers that they've probably always wanted to be able to actually do.
We were able to rapidly build our contact center. What we were estimating was going to take us 8 months. We were able to get into Flex and go from prototype to production launch out to thousands of agents in a few short months. Now, whenever a merchant calls in, we're able to give an agent more relevant information about who they're speaking to, their history with us, issues they may have had, so they can actually personalize the conversation they're having. That's huge.
We used to sit into a room and say like, oh, it would be great to be able to try this. And we're like, yeah, it would be. And now we're like, it'd be great if we could try this, or does this reporting? And it's like, yeah, let me try it, 15 minutes, let's see how it goes.
There's just a tremendous joy in being able to have a conversation and tell someone, oh yeah, we can do that. Ultimately, the customer experience is everything for us. And Flex is truly empowering where we want to go.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us. This is Chris Wilson, Director of Merchant Support Technical Operations. And I don't know if you caught in there, but Chris said, just let it out like it was a small thing, that in the last few months, you have completed your complete migration onto Twilio Flex of all of your agents.
Yeah, absolutely. We started early in the spring, figuring out how we were going to build our next generation of contact center. Heard about Flex when it was announced in March, and shortly after that started prototyping, and early in September we launched to the entire team.
Fantastic.
Went to production.
And so that is an amazing accomplishment in that short period of time, in just a few short months. Tell us a little bit about what were the limitations that caused you to migrate from onto Flex?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is we had built before, we had used bot solutions, and ultimately we run into roadblocks. We run into things where we're not able to run the business the way we want to, and we have to start having discussions around, do we want to reshape how we're building our business based on a piece of software? And so that was it was a conversation that was happening too frequently, and the biggest thing for moving to Flex was the ability to we get a lot for free as far as what you've designed and what you've given us, but also we have the ability to tailor and customize exactly to what we want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So tell us a little bit more in detail, like how many people did it take?
Yeah. So we did this with a team of 3 developers, 2 interns. So 2 gents had joined the team from our Tier 3 escalated support. We brought them over as Rails developers, and on day 1 told them they had to learn React. And so we did that in about 5 months.
3 developers, 2 interns.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job.
To build a custom contact center, deploy it, and roll it out to thousands of agents.
Yeah. It was.
They must have been really good interns.
Oh man, it felt great. It felt great.
So they didn't know contact center.
No, so we hadn't. That team hadn't built anything for contact center. We built apps for various apps for the support team. But we hadn't built a contact center from the ground up before.
You hired them for their React knowledge?
No, we hired them for Rails knowledge.
You hired them for Rails knowledge.
Yeah.
So they learned React as they went
Yeah.
and then built a contact center in the
We
same
learned
time.
React and built the contact center at the same time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And did you need your own design team?
We did not have a design team. It's been designed by engineers.
It's designed by engineers.
The nice thing is we got a ton of feedback from the team, from our Guru team and the support team. But yeah, we did it with that group of 5.
Great. Let's see your Flex. Here it is. So tell us a little bit about, this is what you built. You've got notes in the middle of this form where you can submit tickets. You've hooked into a whole host of your different back-end systems. Now, you had a timeline to get this to launch.
Yeah.
What was the pressure?
So Black Friday, Cyber Monday is the biggest event of the year for our merchants. And so we needed to be ready before that. So we targeted the beginning of September. We had about 5 months from kind of from initial idea, prototype to launch. Yeah.
And give yourself a few weeks before Black Friday.
A little bit.
Great. And did you measure impact? Were there differences?
So what we're starting to see is just from our ability to customize workflows, we're able to see reductions in how long it's taking our team to have conversations. So we see a reduction in handle times. We see improvements in CSAT scores across the team, just from our ability to give them more relevant information and have those great conversations. Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you one last question. We often get asked about a build versus buy decision in contact center. Did you think of this as a build decision or a buy decision?
I would say this is it's the hybrid of it, right? We're getting something that's out of the box that gets us running really fast, and then it gives us complete control over it. So as opposed to us having to start from scratch and build a lot of these things, build components that may not have been there before, we get that for free, and it allows us to spend more time tailoring it to exactly what we need. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, Chris, you called it Athena, right? Why did you call it Athena?
Call it Athena because we originally came up with the term contact centaur, and we weren't allowed.
Centaur.
Contact centaur, yeah.
Like a half person, half horse.
Yeah. But we felt Athena probably fit a little bit better, but I think at our core, it's the contact centaur. Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. My team are definitely going to build you a centaur-themed thank you gift.
Perfect.
And also thank you for adopting the Flex general sort of hairstyle.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's real commitment to Flex. So thank you.
Thanks.
So Shopify are live in production with thousands of agents. And they are one of many, many companies, these are just a handful, who have had their hands on Flex for months and have been rolling it out and doing all sorts of different channels, all sorts of different use cases, from video to screen sharing to voice to chat. And they have all seen what this flexibility can unlock for them. How much you can improve an agent experience when you can finally actually do the thing that you always wanted to do, but you've never been able to do. That is the flexibility of the product, but we also wanted flexibility in how you pay for it. Because you see, traditionally, at contact center, you pay per agent per month. It's a great model. If that's what works for you, you can buy Flex that way too. But a lot of contact centers, a lot of the large ones, a lot of the ones with really interesting loads, have tremendous elasticity in their load. Folks like Shopify, who on Black Friday have a huge burst in their usage. And we wanted a pricing model that supports that. We wanted a pricing model that does not constrain you in the same way we wanted a product that does not constrain you. And that is why I am thrilled to tell you that Flex can also be paid for on a per active user per hour basis. I think that this will unlock an enormous amount of ways in which you can deploy Flex and how you can get the most out of it. There's one more thing I want to tell you about Flex. We've been working on this for years. And could not be more excited to be on this stage today to tell you that Flex is now generally available. You can go to twilio.com right now and get it. I cannot wait to see what you do with it. Thank you so much.
Let's hear it for Al and the Flex team. That is really cool. We think it's transforming the contact center. Now, we've talked a lot today about the communications renaissance, but the next company I want to talk about is undergoing their own renaissance, and it's been amazing to watch. Let's take a look.
I have to go. It's Domino's.
With Domino's Tracker, you know when to expect your pizza.
Looking for this?
You just have to be there to get it.
Yeah.
Order and track your pizza with Domino's Tracker.
Domino's. Please welcome up the Director of Delivery Technology, Ken Natoli. Ken, welcome. What an amazing title you have, Director of Delivery Technology, but that is what Domino's does. So first of all, tell us about Domino's transformation from, like the 80s pizza that we think about to a modern technology company.
Yeah, so 6 or 7 years ago, we made a big investment in technology. It changed the way we worked. It changed our teams, and that was a big success factor. A big motivator there was transparency. How do we provide the right information at the right time? Take, like you mentioned earlier, take Tracker, for example. Everyone's used Pizza Tracker. That was a big customer success.
And this is all powered by technology, right? There's all these different customer touch points, and you're now a technology company. You're based in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Go Blue. Mm-hmm. If there's any developers out there in Michigan, great company to work for. But you've talked publicly about a lot of this technology. Like your ads talk a lot about technology to consumers. Why is that?
Yeah, so we've made a big push in our Anywhere technology. If you're familiar with Amazon Alexa, Facebook Messenger, all of those. And those are really to showcase our brand. Those are really important to us. But those might not really apply to every single customer. What I want to say is what we're trying to do is showcase that the brand is easy to use. And even if they don't go into and order on Amazon Alexa or whatnot, if they come into our store, if they call us up on the phone, they're still going to have a great experience.
Now, what is next for Domino's as you think about this delivery experience and the technology behind making a pizza arrive magical? What's next for you guys?
Yeah, so talk about the process of getting a pizza to our customer. I know none of you have ordered Domino's before, but when you place your order, we'll send you an email, and that's not necessarily time sensitive. It'll go in your inbox, and you can search it later as a reference. And then when your pizza's
out for email.
Yeah, exactly. Send grid now. When you get that pizza out for delivery, you want to log in, look at that pizza tracker, figure out when that pizza is going to get to you. But that's more time sensitive. And we saw a shift, and our customers wanted a way to get that information with less friction. That was a motivator for us to go and develop our more advanced alerting on Amazon Alexa, SMS, and push notifications. So I think you just see us, over time, become more and more transparent with our customers.
Fantastic. Now, we've been working on a new product together for the last year. Payments. Tell us why payments and taking payments over the phone are an important part of Domino's business.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about innovation, and for us, we've moved a ton of our business over to our digital platforms. We take more than 60% of our orders online or through Anywhere or in our mobile apps, and that still leaves over 30% of our orders coming in through our more traditional methods, walk-in and phone. We have a big phone business, and even within that phone segment, we've got a high number of customers that are using credit cards. And Domino's is dead serious about security, and we've got to keep looking out, look at the next new innovative way to protect our PII and our payment data. The risks and the consequences are just too huge. So we've been grateful to be a partner with Twilio and work together on an innovative solution around payments. So looking forward to the future there.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Ken. Everything that you and the team of Domino's has built has been amazing. And watching you ride this wave of digital transformation and transforming Domino's from a company where, like you guys admitted, the pizza tasted like cardboard.
Right. We had to gain the trust back. And it was all about
reinvent the pizza, reinvent the delivery experience, and using technology at every step of the way has been an amazing transformation. Let's hear it for Ken and Domino's.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken. So in addition to Domino's, we've talked to thousands of customers to hear what you all want. And we always hear that compliance is one of the key things, especially for enterprises. So that's why we have GDPR compliance this year, SOC 2 Type 2 for Authy, ISO 27001, but payments was the next thing. Today, we're excited to announce that Twilio Voice is now PCI certified. So you can take payments over the phone. But that's not all. We realized that if we became PCI certified, that's great. You could accept credit card data over the phone, and then we hand it over to your application. And then you have to become PCI certified, which is not a fun process, I can tell you. So we're launching another product today called Pay. And that allows you to take payments without having to become PCI certified yourselves. Now, we built this new Pay product in partnership with Stripe. And Stripe, as you all know, is a true disruptor in the payments realm, making it easy for developers to accept payments on their websites and their mobile apps, and now via a phone call. So to talk more about this partnership and the Pay product, please welcome up the co-founder and president of Stripe, John Carlson. John, come on up. Hey.
Great to see you.
All right, John, welcome. Welcome to Signal. So first of all, tell us a bit about Stripe. Give us the background. Why'd you start the company?
Sure. We are building economic infrastructure for the internet at Stripe. My co-founder, Patrick, and I, we both come from development backgrounds, and we were always shocked at how, you could build your internet product, you get it in the hands of customers, but then when it came to actually accepting money for what you'd built, good God, it was like going back to the Stone Ages. So that's how we ended up getting started.
So true.
And one of the things I'm really excited about with this partnership is I think Twilio and Stripe have very similar focuses in terms of working with developers and building developer tools. And one of the things that's really exciting to me is that the march of progress is that developer toolkit getting more powerful. I don't know if people here know this, but this venue in 1977, 41 years ago, was the site of the West Coast Computer Fair, where Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, they presented the Apple II. And so if you think about it, the developer toolkit back then was like punching in, line by line your program into an Apple II. Now, that was, Bicycle for the Mind was like release 6 of the developer toolkit. We must now, all the things that are available to developers, we're on like version 41 of the developer toolkit. I don't know, is it like a hang glider for the mind or like a space elevator for the mind or something like that? So that's why we're really excited about Pay, giving all these more advanced capabilities to developers to actually do stuff in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge amount of overlap for both Stripe and for Twilio. We're trying to democratize access to technology so that developers can use them to build amazing things. So tell us about the process of Twilio and Stripe partnering on our new Pay product from your perspective.
Yeah, so when we talk to our customers, what we hear very reliably is conversion, conversion, conversion. If you want to increase revenue, one of the simplest ways to do it is just sand off all that friction that tends to exist in the checkout process. And so again, imagine, you have a customer on the phone, you're talking to them, it's this incredibly intimate touch point. An obvious thing you might want to do is actually finish the transaction, finish the sale, finish the upgrade, whatever, right then and there. And again, because of all the compliance hurdles that people usually have to deal with, things like PCI compliance, that used to be actually pretty cumbersome, such that most companies would not do it. It was not a capability that they had, and this is something that we want to change.
Awesome. So we've obviously been seeing the demand from our customers on the voice side saying we want to take payments. Are you hearing that from your customers taking mobile payments and web payments?
Absolutely. Again, like I said, it's this very intimate touch point, and it's one that, I mean, all of our customers tend to have. And previously, you had these, bifurcated stacks where you'd have, the web flow and you'd have the phone flow, and then you might have the agent talking someone through how to click around the website. Like, it's really not what you'd expect. And the general trend we see is towards more convergence of channels, unified, experiences with the company. And again, I think it's going to be a big driver of that.
Just bringing it all together into one seamless experience, regardless of channel. Well, that's what we're here to do today. So thank you very much, John. Welcome to Signal. Thank you for coming today. And before you leave, though, you are a developer. In fact, you showed me 5 years ago. We met for breakfast.
Have I earned this? Yeah, I'm not sure.
You pulled out your laptop and you said, let me show you what I built with Stripe and Twilio. And we've got a tradition where developers who build stuff on Twilio get track jackets. So we wanted to give you a track jacket. You're going to put it on.
Thank
John,
you so much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for John Carlson.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stripe is another amazing developer company. I'm sure you all already know that. All right, now to tell us a bit more about our new pay product and how it can transform your ability to take payments over the phone, please welcome up Chris Gouda, product manager for Twilio Voice. Come on up, Chris.
Wow, we're PCI compliant today. How exciting is that? I'm more excited about pay. But before, let me just tell you a quick story on how we got here. How did we get to launch PCI certification as well as pay? So as we began 2018, we're looking at what are the things that we want to build. And one of the things that came up really on top of the list was PCI compliance. A lot of you are building incredible use cases on programmable voice. As being a product manager for programmable voice, I get to see most of these use cases, and I get to talk to you all. And a lot of these use cases require you to provide payment information, credit card information over the phone. So we realized we have to be PCI compliant in 2018. So I'm really excited that we're able to achieve that goal. But as we started executing on PCI compliance, we took a step back to understand what is involved in capturing payments over the phone. And then as we started to look at this process, one, you have to build a secure PCI compliant environment so that the credit card information is protected, it's safe. Next, you have to build a very intuitive user experience so that your customers can provide this information over the phone easily. Now, finally, once you receive all of this information, you have to integrate with some kind of payment platform to be able to process that information, whether it's tokenizing or creating a charge. So when we took a step back and looked at this process, we're like, wow, that's really difficult. PCI compliance alone is not going to solve the problem. That's just going to only address a very small percentage of the problem. There has to be an API for this. We started to wonder, why isn't there an API for this? Why can't I easily capture payments over the phone with just one line of code? That single thought led us to Pay. Pay is an incredibly powerful API that allows you to capture payments over the phone in just one line of code in just a few minutes. There's three things about Pay that I want you to remember. Pay, one, is compliant. It's built on the same PCI compliant platform. We did things like it automatically pauses call recording if you're recording a call so that sensitive information is not recorded. Pay comes with the out-of-the-box experience, so you don't have to start from scratch. But you can fully customize for your own experience. Now, finally, we're integrating with payment platforms, Stripe being one of our first, with many more to come. Now, let me quickly show you how you can start capturing payments over the phone in just a couple of minutes that otherwise would have taken you months. All right, so as you heard from Jeff earlier, we're building a Tony Hawk-themed company, Kickflip Boards. So I'm going to build a really simple IVR application that just plays like a welcome greeting, and then we'll drop in pay to start capturing credit card information. And we're done. It's really that simple. But if I make a phone call right now, you'll hear a greeting, and then pay will kick in. It will start asking you for payment card information. And if I just go through the entire process, it's going to, in the end, tokenize that information by default. But today, we want to create a charge and not tokenize. I'm going to add a quick attribute called charge amount. Now, one last thing. When pay completes, I want to receive the result so that I can actually respond back, whether it's if payment is successful or failed. For this demo, in the interest of time, I already wired up a Twilio function, so I'm going to use that as my action attribute. Now we're ready. So I'm going to make a quick phone call here.
Welcome to Kickflip Boards. Please enter your credit card number.
Now, for this testing purposes, I'm using a test credit card number that you can, comes with Stripe account, so it's just not a real credit card. So don't go shopping on this number.
Please enter your expiration date, 2 digits for the month and 2 digits for the year. Thank you for the payment. Goodbye.
It's really that simple. Like, everything you heard from credit card number to expiration date, all of that just came from this one line of code. And as you can see, my action URL got all the information redacted so that your application you can store that information in your file if you want to. And then there's a confirmation code that came back from Stripe. Now you can use Pay to capture payments in IVR in just a minute. Now, you might be wondering, what about contact centers? A lot of the time, we find ourselves talking to an agent, whether it's an airline or insurance company or whatnot. And towards the end of these interactions, we often get asked, can you please speak your credit card number? Now, I personally myself get a little bit concerned, spooked a little bit, because I'm in public place. I don't want to read out my credit card number. I don't know who is listening. So we thought there should be a better experience. We thought that you could provide credit card information in a more secure way. So we built a Pay plugin into Flex. So let me quickly make a call and show you how that works. One of my colleagues, Jake, in the back room there, is helping with this demo, and he is acting as a agent working at Kickflip Board Company.
Hi, thank you for calling Kickflip Boards. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm looking to charge my account. I'm having a little difficulty paying for it.
Sure, I'd be happy to help you with that. Are you okay to pay by credit card?
That'd be great.
Wonderful. If I could have you just go ahead and enter in your credit card information for me, starting with the numbers.
Sure.
Great. And next, the expiration date, 2 digits for the month and 2 for the year. Wonderful. And lastly, just the 3-digit security code on the back of the card.
Oops, I think I entered wrong security code.
Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, it doesn't look like that went through. Maybe try one more time.
Oh, my call disconnected. Let's try that again. We'll try that again one more time. It's a really cool demo. I really like this one, so we got to try one more time.
Hi, welcome to Kickflip Boards, Part 2. How can I help you?
I got disconnected while I was paying my card information. Can I try again?
Oh, so sorry about that. Absolutely.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead and put in your credit card number now.
All right. There's always something's going to go wrong with the live coding or live demo.
Maybe try that one more time.
Yep, you got it. Let's try it one last time, guys. Sorry, be patient with me here.
Hi, welcome to Kickflip. Third tries the charm. How can I help you?
Final time. Let's do it, Jake.
All right.
Now, ideally, what happens is, as I'm providing the credit card information over the phone, Jake will be able to see the progress, as you can see on the screen, but he won't be able to hear the digits. He won't be able to see it, but he can guide me through this process.
Great. Go ahead and enter in the expiration date now. And lastly, the security code.
There you go. Ooh.
Perfect.
All right. You know what they say, third time is a charm. So as you can see, it's also incredibly easy to capture payments securely over the phone, where your agent can guide you through the process, but never have to see the secure information. Pay, this really incredible API. We're really excited to launch Pay. Today, just day one. We're launching with voice. But as we move forward, we're excited to bring Pay to all channels that Tullio has. And we're going to also push it beyond. We're going to integrate with mobile payments like Apple Pay or Android Pay and Apple Business Chat, so that you can easily get started capturing payments. Thank you.
Now, we love doing it live, and Pay is in beta. Maybe there's a reason for that. But we hope you love it, and we can't wait to see what you build with it. Now, one of the things I want to point out about that experience, when we talk to you all always tell us, like, how can you help me make these experiences more fluid, more easy for my customers, and make it so when they cross the boundaries of technology or the customer lifecycle, it just makes sense and it's easy. And you saw that with Pay, with the Agent Assist. It's just a seamless experience integrated between these two products. And we think that fluidity, that easy experience, like that's your differentiation. And so we're integrating a notion that we call handoff into all of our products, because we want to make it so that when your experiences cross the technological boundaries or organizational boundaries, that your customers see it as a seamless experience. Now, we've thought a lot about how APIs, and we've talked about how APIs are going to help you realize the next decade of this communications renaissance. And we've talked about how developers are going to fuel that, and application platforms are going to fuel that. But you know what? There's one other thing that's on our mind, and I'm sure it's on your mind as well, and it's AI. I bet you didn't see that coming. AI is already solving so many problems that just a few years ago, none of us thought would be solvable by computers. And you ask yourself, how is this going to play out over the next 10 years? Is Google just going to own all of the AI that we all use? Are they just going to win here? Is it going to be a tool in the hands of the few? And we think no. Just like that AT&T fallacy from 25 years ago, it's not up to one company to bring us the future of AI. Because how you end up using AI to transform your business is as unique to your business as everything else that you need to build to differentiate yourself. You're going to have to get good at building AI. You're going to have to train AI on your data, on your domain, on your business problems. And how are you going to do that? Well, we all know you need human beings to do artificial intelligence training. So where are you going to get a lot of human beings sitting at computers doing training? Well, guess what? You already have that group of human beings. It's your contact center. Your contact center is your human intelligence cloud. See, we see humans and AI working together on an ever-evolving workload of problems that they're solving. And some problems will end up being solved by AI, and then the humans will do other work and train AI to do other things, and that workload will continue to evolve. And so in addition to doing customer service, your contact center agents over time will become your AI training center, and you'll put tasks in front of them. Sure, you're going to have voice calls and chats and things like that, but you're also going to have machine learning tasks, reinforcement training tasks, all sort of tagging tasks, all sorts of machine learning training that your human agents can be doing as a part of your human intelligence cloud. And that's why we imagined Flex from day one with this incredibly flexible definition of what a task is. It's not just communications. It's not just a call or a text. You can invent your own types of tasks to put in front of those human beings. Because we think the power of human beings and human talent you have, training your artificial intelligence over the next 10 years, that's going to be the magic that you're going to unlock. Now, we've got a new product to talk about in the AI realm because there's the human intelligence cloud, and we all know we've heard about how AI can take over and automate many of our customer interactions. But that promise has fallen short for the past few years, and we want to try to solve that. We want to fix bots. So to tell you more about our next product, please welcome Nico Acosta. Nico, come on up.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, one of the biggest challenges that we have is to serve customers at scale. And bots and virtual assistants have had the promise and are part of the solution. But if we've learned one thing over the last couple of years, is that they haven't quite fully delivered on that promise. It turns out that it's not that easy. But here's the thing. We believe that they will. And we believe that self-service experiences powered by AI are going to change how we interact with customers in the next 10 years. But it just needs something different. It needs a new kind of tool. And I've been working with hundreds of you when I was in Voice through hackathons over the last year. And what we've heard, so we need a new kind of tool. One that it's a complete conversational application platform. One that has a natural language understanding engine for developers with all the APIs deployed in high availability infrastructure. And one that is omni-channel. Today, I want to introduce the platform that will change the trajectory on how we interact with customers. I want to introduce Autopilot. Autopilot is the conversational AI platform to serve customers at scale. We believe the future is conversational. If you think about it, for the last 10 years, we have been adapting to how computers work. But we're at that inflection point where the next 10 years is going to be about computers adapting to us. And we're going to be interacting with smart systems with natural language in a conversational way. But for businesses, what that means, if you break down like two fundamental types of workflows, you can break them down into data collection workflows, or you can break them down into question answering workflows. I'm thrilled to introduce Autopilot's Actions. It's the next generation API to build conversational experiences. With Actions, you can tell Autopilot to say something, to respond to a question. You can show something for devices that have screens. You can tell Autopilot to remember. And so you can build context of what's going on in the conversation, and you can remember what was already said. And you can collect. Collect acts like a web form. You just tell it, I want to ask these 3 questions. Autopilot goes and asks those questions. And you can redirect, so you can pin all the different parts of the dialogue together. So let's see how this works. Say, I'd like to book an appointment. That comes to Autopilot. Autopilot performs the natural language analysis. It hits the task. That task has a webhook out to your application where you can build all your business logic. It comes back in actions, one or many actions. We then translate that action that's a JSON-based protocol into the channel where the customer is interacting with us, and then we deliver it to the customer. And you can do this over and over and over again and build really sophisticated interactions. You know, one of my favorite parts, you build once, and you can deploy everywhere without changing one line of code. But there's one action that I want to talk about. That is collect. If you think about it, forms are a foundational element in web and mobile applications. We've figured this out in the web. This form has 13 different fields. They all need to be validated. They all have kind of their own conditions and their own state management. If you want to build this into a conversational application, like a bot or a virtual assistant, whether it's voice, whether it's messaging, you have to handle all the different state transitions, all the validations, all the possible corner cases. Your application ends up looking like this. It's a mess. And what this ends up, it ends up hurting the customer experience. This complexity is really, really hard to manage. So let me show you how we can do data collection with Autopilot. OK, so what we have here is the Autopilot console. We've already gone and created our first task. And what we're going to do is that we're going to make a reservation, a group reservation, so that we can go skating with a bunch of friends. So it doesn't do much right now, new task. But we need to collect 4 pieces of data. We're going to collect a name, going to collect a date, a time, and the number of people. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So you'll see here, we have a collect. Collect takes 3 properties, takes a name, questions, and an incomplete action. I'm going to enter the first question. So I'm going to welcome, and then I'm going to ask for the name. Here you'll see type twilio.name.firstname. These are the built-in natural language understanding models that come with Autopilot. So you don't have to teach Autopilot how to recognize first names. We're going to go ahead and paste the date, the time, the number. Right? And here, the same thing. We're leveraging twilio.date, we're leveraging twilio.time, and twilio.number. And last, we're going to point this to our backend. For the backend, I'm using Twilio serverless functions. And what this function does is that it'll just read back to us the information that we collected. And so if you know anything about machine learning, you'll know the 2 laws of machine learning. Number 1, you always, always, always pre-record your demos. Number 2, you never, ever, ever do them live. Here we go. Audio on the phone. Let's give the EV 1 second. Okay.
Welcome to Kick Flipboards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
My name is Nico.
On what date would you like to go?
October 31st.
And at what time?
I'm thinking 10:30 in the morning.
For how many people?
It's going to be 22 of us.
Okay, Nico. Your reservation for October 31st, 2018 at 10:30 a.m. for 22 people is now confirmed. Thank you for
So you can see how in just a couple of seconds we can build a sophisticated flow. But that's the happy path. Now let's try to break it, see what happens.
Welcome to Kick Flipboards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Can you please say that again?
No, I can't say that again.
I still didn't catch that. Can you please repeat?
I can't repeat.
Let's give it one more try. Please say it one more time.
You can call me Nico.
On what date would you like to go?
Moves on to the date. So without changing one line of code, it comes with all the validations built in. Now, let me show you what you need to make Autopilot omnichannel. So we've got our action definition here in JSON. And basically, to make it omnichannel, you just need to lift the hands off the keyboard, walk away. Alexa, open kickflip. Alexa, open kickflip.
Welcome to Kick Flipboards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
My name is Nico.
On what date would you like to go?
October 31st.
And at what time?
11 a.m.
For how many people?
22.
Okay, Nico. Your reservation for October 31st, 2018 at 11 a.m. for 22 people is now confirmed. Thank you for booking with us.
And that's Autopilot Omnichannel. So, Autopilot Actions, it's the next generation API to build conversational experiences. But with Actions, you can program all your business logic, however you want to do it. Autopilot does all the heavy lifting of validations and dialogue management. But a big part of virtual assistants and bots is like their personality, like their kind of touch and feel. And style is something that we've figured out with the web, where we completely decouple the business logic from the style. We figured that out in mobile as well. But we quite haven't figured it out for conversational applications. So let me show you something that you're gonna love. So we're back here same autopilot that we're building, I'm going to go to style sheets. So what we've done is that we've introduced autopilot style sheets. Style sheets define the personality of your bot. I don't know you, but I thought this was way too formal. We're building a skate shop. It sounded kind of too formal for my taste. So we're going to delete that style sheet, and we're going to try this other one. See how it goes. See if you guys like it.
Welcome to Kick Flipboards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
I won't tell you my name. Let's give that a go. This personality is not liking us.
Welcome to Kick Flipboards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
I don't know.
Pardon me, I did not understand you. No biggie. Can you please say that again?
I can't say that again.
I'm sorry to ask, but can you please repeat that?
I can't repeat it.
Do you think it might be possible to say it one more time?
All right, you can call me Nico.
Lovely. On what date would you like to go?
Moves on. But still, I don't know. I don't think we're quite there. That's kind of like the personality for a tea shop, and we have a skateboard shop. So let's try this last one.
Welcome to Kick Flipboards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
I don't know.
Yo, that's not right. Say that again.
I don't know.
You're bananas. That doesn't sound right to me. I'll give you one more chance.
You're going to give me one more chance?
I'm done with you. This is your last chance. Go ahead and say that again.
All right, you can call me Nico.
On what date would you like to go?
And moves on. Note how you can tell. How you can tell what's a first name from not a first name. It can validate this on dates times bunch of built-in different fields, so that when you build with Autopilot, you don't have to worry about this. Let's go back to the slides. But one of the things you hear a lot about bots and virtual assistants is that, well, they can't handle all the cases, and right? It's like when you think about it, maybe they shouldn't, right? Take something like this: crashed my rental car. You do not want to talk to a bot. You want to be connected to somebody immediately, right? Or if you want to book an appointment, that is a well-defined workflow. And for very well-defined workflows, consumers actually prefer self-service experiences. So here we want to talk to a human. We want to classify that interaction and route it to somebody that can help. And here we want to use bots and virtual assistants, but escalate if things go wrong. And we have kind of everything in the middle, where there's kind of partly automated experiences and that handoff by design to agents. So the next building block I want to talk about is one that takes all those customer issues, whether they're coming in voice or text, and routes them to the right type of task. This is the natural language router that can route to a data collection task, that can route to a question answering task, or it can route to a human. And you ask, how will the routing to a human work exactly? Well, I want to introduce Autopilot Handoff, the bridge between the self-service world and the contact center agent world. Let me show you how it works. Okay? So we're going to go here to our function. That's very simple. But if we want to make a group reservation for all of us, we probably need to talk to somebody. So what we're going to do here is that for any party size greater than 100, we're going to connect to an agent. And note, this is not a setting, this is not a customization. This is like your business logic. You're writing code, and you're deciding when it's the best way, when it's the best time to connect to an agent or not. So we're going to go ahead and deploy our function. We still have the hipster theme, so that's OK. And we're going to give it a go.
Welcome to Kickflip Boards. I can help you make a reservation for your group. Let's get started. What's your first name?
My name is Nico.
On what day would you like to go?
Tomorrow,
And at what time?
10:30 a.m.
For how many people?
3,422.
Yo, that's a lot of people. Let me get someone to help.
And we have our Flex agent picking up the call with autopilot handoff. This is autopilot handoff. Thank you very much.
All right, let's hear it for autopilot with handoff to your contact center. You know, this great communication renaissance is upon us, but it is your communications renaissance. How you are going to take the infrastructure and technologies that are available to us and apply them to your customers, your ideas, and your business, that is up to you, and we're here to help. But as we think about what is going to bring the next decade of innovation here and who is going to do it, it's obvious to us that you will. You're going to build this future, and we're excited to embark on it with you. Now, I want to give a quick shout out to some of our sponsors today. Thank you for helping us bring Signal, DocuSign, Google Cloud, AWS, Plantronics, Wipro, and thank you especially to our visionary sponsors, Stripe and Test Dev Lab. Now, a few things to not forget about. First of all, your hack packs. Rack up experience points and those things. You know why? Because we're giving away 20 Magic Leaps tomorrow at Signal for the people who have the most experience points racked up. So do that. If you need help with anything, contact us. We've got that Flex Contact Center running live out there. The contact information's on your badge. If you need anything, hit us up. We're here to help. And lastly, try out Twilio Quest. Figure out what you want to learn over the next 2 days. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot to learn. But we're here to serve you. For the next 2 days, we want you to follow your quest. This is your conference. You want to learn more about Flex? You want to learn more about Autopilot, Pay? You want to learn about SendGrid? Whatever it is, spend the next 2 days getting excited and motivated and learning for the next decade of the communications renaissance. Tomorrow, we've got the creators of Westworld, Roni from Magic Leap, OK Go, Twilio.org, changing society with communications with hope, power, and freedom. We can't wait to see what you're going to do over the next 2 days. Have a great Signal, and I will see you tomorrow.